Principal here from Triceps.com, and today we're doing an exercise called the Swiss bar pin press versus chains. For this exercise, what you're going to need is a rack with a rod and pin based system or way to adjust your pins. You are going to want a Swiss bar or a neutral grip based bar, and then you're also going to want a way to hook up chains to the barbell, ideally with a feeder system. These easy loaders from Elite FTS are fantastic, and then I got 5/8 chain, but as long as you got enough chain weight, we just want to make sure the chain is not ran directly from the barbell to the ground. We actually want a feeder system. If you've got all that figured out, you're good to go. When it comes to your chains, you're probably going to want about 25% of your 1 rep max of your bench press on there. For today's demonstration purposes, I just have 1 chain per side, but if I were to do this, I would usually use 2 or 3 chains depending upon what I'm kind of trying to get out of the exercise. That's why I said roughly 25%. You can use a little less, a little more, but that's kind of a good gold standard to give you an idea of where you want to be. Once you've got this all set up, you're just going to adjust the pin height to where you want to focus on. So you want to focus more off of your chest, which is where most people are probably going to place it. Get it between that 1 to 3 inches away from your chest, but you can also focus on just your lockout by moving the pins up anywhere in that 5 to 6 inch range off of your chest as well. Once you've got that all set up, we just get down on the bench like we're going to do our normal bench press or a normal pin press. I'm going to grab the medium grip handles here for demonstration purposes, but you can use the close or the wide. It just depends on how you're built and kind of what you're wanting to get from it. But then we set our back, set our feet, wrists, and elbows are stacked. Big breath, big push off the pins, down, let it come to a complete stop, and then return back. And then I can slide it out of the way. So the reason you would do this exercise in particular is that it's going to work on rate of force development off of the chest, especially if you put these pins as close as you can, okay? We don't want to unrack the barbell from the J-hook and then bring it down to the pins and then press. That's going to give us eccentric loading. The goal with an exercise like this is to eliminate the eccentric loading, make it concentric only, so that way we can work again off a rate of force development off the chest. Yes, you're not going to be able to do as much as you can with your normal bench press. 1, because you use a Swiss bar, but 2, because you're doing a pin press. You got chains and all that kind of stuff. But the goal here is to just work on that rate of force development off the pins. The chains are going to accommodate that strength curve, forcing you to have to push faster, but then also continue to apply that force through the range of motion. So usually just a regular pin press, regardless of what kind of bar you're using, the hardest part is getting it to break off the pins. Usually if you do that, you've probably got enough speed and then enough leverage to be able to finish the exercise. But the chains are going to accommodate the strength curve because as it continues to rise off the pins, more and more chains leave the ground, and that's what's actually felt on the barbell. So this is a shoulder-friendly exercise because you're not going to have to necessarily go down to your chest all the time, and you're using a neutral grip, which is going to give you more an external rotated position, making it much more tricep dominant. So great for shoulder health purposes if you don't want to bench press, but it's also a great way to attack your triceps for your bench press if you do bench press. So I think this is a fantastic exercise to drive up your bench press, highly underrated. It is a pain to set up, but you will see good dividends. You could use it as a main movement, so if you really want to hammer home at this, hard sets of 1 to 3 repetitions are going to be great because if it's too light, you're not going to be able to have to focus on that rate of force development to get the break off the pins. Again, that's the hardest part, so make it heavy so you have to continue to work on that rate of force development piece. You could also use it as a supplemental exercise, so that would be after your main bench press work, you can set this up. I recommend then doing up to 5 reps. You could do 1s again, but really 3 to 5 reps as a supplemental movement. But again, still making sure it's heavy and hard enough that you're having to drive up hard off the pins to work on that rate of force development. Anything over 5 repetitions, to me, the weight then becomes too light, and you're not having to focus on applying much pressure to get it to break off the pins. I think there's other exercises that we could do at that point if you really wanted to focus on any of the other areas of your bench press rather than focusing on pin press based work. So if you happen to have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks. Have a great day.